So hello and welcome, my friends. My name is Singh, and I was maybe an above average Excel user, maybe is the keyword there, but I became extraordinary when I discovered Power BI. Excel and Power BI truly rock together, but we're not here to talk about me, we're here to talk Power BI. So yeah, this session, there's no presentation, no PowerPoint was harmed in the making of this session. So yeah, it's just you and me and whatever questions you bring in. So we're trying out something new this time. And let's see. So what we have done is we've set up a Facebook group, Talk Power BI, and yeah, for frankly, this whole thing has been an experiment, so I have no idea how that's going to go. But we're going to try to take our first question from that group. So let's see. So if you ask the question on that group and you're on this call right now, just text me the URL for that question or put in the chat box. Let me try to bring it up actually. There we go. Face group. Oh boy. All right, so let's go. So I think I saw a few questions. So if Jay or Mark, you're on the call, just okay. Mark is there. Perfect. On a different computer. Perfect. So by the way, I didn't know this trick, but you can right-click the kind of the R stamp or the timestamp on the message, and that gives you a new window. So Mark, let's go with your question. Let me find you in, are you going to have a working microphone? Typically, I just unmute people and we talk. So I'm going to try that and we'll see how it works. Okay, so I unmuted you. Can we hear you?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. All right. So, well, hello and welcome. Tell us about yourself, maybe a little bit. Where are you calling from?
Sure. I'm in the Chicagoland area. I'm a consultant, and I've been working with Power BI now for about the last 4 months or so,
How
and
exciting. All
trying
right.
to. I've got a client, created 2 reports for them. It's been quite an adventure with Power BI. Nothing is ever as straightforward as you'd hope it would be,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's a lot to learn, right? There's DAX, so learning all the syntax of DAX and
Yeah.
understanding the differences
Mhm.
between DAX and other languages is interesting. But here I'm
Yeah.
trying to plan for the future. So I've got these 2 reports, and they're
Mm-hmm.
for their firm that's in the U.S. They're opening another firm outside the U.S. It's going to be a separate instance of NAV. It's likely going to be a separate instance of the data warehouse that we create, although
Mm-hmm.
it may end up being pulled into the same.
Yeah.
But what I want to do is use the exact same report. What I don't want to do is have 2 copies of it to have to support, right? To have to do duplicate changes for each of them. So Power BI, one of the weaknesses that I see is there's really no way to allow a checkbox kind of feature or something that applies to every page. In this case, it would be a slicer that would say US or let's
Mm-hmm.
say Canada for
Yeah.
their second location. In other words, I'd have to put it on every page, and it's a real pain, not just for me, not a big deal,
Yeah.
but for the users to select it each time, that's just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. So
Okay.
I'm looking
So,
at
yeah.
approaches for this.
All right. Terrific. I'm glad you've kind of jumped into the deep end and you're trying it out. That's what counts. Just curious. So, what's your background before this? You clearly have been working in this area for a while, but which tools? Kind of, I don't know, SQL, Excel, something else. Uh, yeah.
Yeah,
What's your background?
SQL Server, Access,
Mhm.
Excel, all Office
Yeah.
integrations, so integrating with
Perfect.
Word, PowerPoint.
Oh
Uh,
gosh, yeah. Yeah, so I always talk about this IT versus business thing, and sometimes there's an IT team that build warehouses and do serious things like that. I have mostly been on the business side, And there I talk about it's not really about the tools, it's about the tools are just means to an end, right? So you use whatever is at your disposal and whatever gets you there. So I kind of hear you there. Okay, so I think I can help you out. So let's go first of all, let me open Power BI desktop. Okay. And you joined online, right? You can see my screen if I bring something up?
Your screen is currently just the splash page. It shows the big yellow banner on the left and your face on the right.
Okay, all right. So here we go.
There we go.
Power BI.
Now it's go. Yep.
So let's start off something easy first. So we do have. Let's clear it. Let's go here. Clear it. We do have different levels of filter here. And I think the one you're looking for is report level filter. And that's going to apply to every single page. Okay. So let's try that. So if I go calendar, and I drag that as a report filter, and I'm going to choose 2016. Notice what happens in the slicer. It only shows 2016 because this whole page is filtered down by this filter, so nothing else is available in the page. And of course, if I go to page 2, same thing here. It only shows 2016. So you can have a filter which is on all pages. And I believe once you publish the report, let's check it out. I'm pretty sure the filter pane is available to the end user, and they can expand it and they can change it. So let's see what a report looks like. So on the dashboard, of course, they had I don't know, you may have stumbled on this, you may not have, but on a dashboard, you can pin a whole report page, right? So otherwise, dashboard doesn't have any filtering. Am I making sense? Or
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So dashboard doesn't have any filtering, and that's how Power BI started off. And a lot of people complained, and what they have given as an option is you can pin a report page. Now that has trade-offs, as a lot of decisions in this work, and I can talk about that. But for now, let's say the default dashboard doesn't have filtering, so that means you're going to have to kind of go down to the report. And there, they're going to have this filter pane, and if you have report level filters, they're going to show up right there, so this report doesn't, and they can tinker with it, and they can change it once, and it'll apply to the whole report.
Okay.
That's one option. So let me quickly show you the pinning the report. So you can click this button, pin live page. Actually, let's edit it first. So maybe for that one, you put everything on page. Oh, gosh, this one is ugly. Let's find something if it's prettier. Nope. Gosh, where are my pretty reports? Okay, yay, nice. Okay, so let's go. Yeah, this looks good enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a calendar year as a slicer here. And I'm going to clear it from the filters here. I'm going to make it a little larger. Not there. Oh gosh, no. Oh, sorry. This is not quite working for me. Hold on just one second. So go to slicer. I just want to make it a little bit bigger. Okay. And I'm just going to say pin live page. Do it when it works. So that way, you can have the page, and right in the dashboard you have filtering as well. That is the only method I know to get filtering on the dashboard. So if you can get everything on one page, you can just pin the page as the dashboard, have a slicer on there, and they can just click around and see whatever they want. That's really cool.
Here's how we've got it set up. Yeah, we've got everything set up as separate pages, and the reason for that is they're doing an export to PowerPoint. And so I don't want to replicate the slicer on every page and say, you have to click. But what you showed me is probably a good second best, I guess. It's something I need to teach them because it's hidden. They wouldn't know to click on it.
Have to expand it.
But after they become familiar, they'll be used to it. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Let's see if we can do you one better. So Power BI URL. So that's one challenge with Power BI, which is it changes so fast. I don't know if this feature has been delivered or it's still due. Plan. Ooh, so this is going to be so cool. Man, it's already got 1,000 plus votes. If I were in your role, I would definitely go and vote for it. You know what? I'll vote on your behalf. In fact, hey, let's ask everybody on the call, please vote on this. The idea behind this is that let's say you specify a report level filter, right? And then you have a URL to your report. Great. Let's do. And then you can say something like ampersand, I don't know, country equals USA, right? Country equals Canada, and it'll automatically set. And the way I do it, I usually put these links as, hey, click the links below for the country reports, and USA, and that one is a hyperlink, Canada, and that one is a hyperlink, and that's it. They don't have to hunt around the filter pane and look for that. That would be so cool, right? So yeah, unfortunately it's not done, but yeah, it's planned, so that's a good sign. Oh, they have a survey as well. So all right, so I'll leave you with that. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, more is always coming with Power BI Land.
Yes, it is.
All right. Okay. Thanks for the
Great.
question.
So that was a good solution. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, my friends. So that was our first question from Facebook. That's great. Let's try this. So on your prompt, I see. Let's try this. Go ahead and click the raise hand button if you need to ask a question, and I'll just go to one of you. Okay, I got a few. Where is it? All right, Denise it is. Ooh, wait. All right, Denise, I just unmuted you. So hello. Welcome. Make sure you're
good morning. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. How are you doing?
Okay.
Tell us about yourself. What's on your mind?
Well, I have two questions this morning that we might not get to solve them both today, but maybe the next time. One is that I work for a large government organization, and we are struggling to try to get approval to use the Power BI Service Cloud Pro version.
Okay.
But we're working on it. But there is a technical preview of the next version of SSRS that is sort of partially on-prem Power BI, and
Yeah.
I also can't get my IT people to focus in on standing that up so we can take a look at it. Is that anywhere out on the web where we can look at it?
Okay, so you're basically talking about on-premise Power BI. What are the options for me, right?
Right. So this next
Yeah.
that hasn't been released version of SSRS is going to host.
Yep.
Well, it's 2016 SSRS will host Power BI files, but when you open them, they'll open the desktop software. The next version, and there's a technical preview of it that's supposed to come out like in maybe August of SSRS, will actually host Power BI files that will open up in a native mode and not open up the desktop software.
Huh.
Are you familiar with that?
I am, but that isn't my understanding. My understanding is that the CTP, it opens in the web. Let's see if we can find anything about it. So SSRS CTP Power BI. I don't know what to search for. Where is the official report? Yeah, so it opens in the browser. Yeah, it doesn't open in the desktop. Frankly, that would be kind of pointless.
Right now it opens in the desktop in 2016 SSRS.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay. I
just
see what you're saying. Got it. So yeah, it's a
this
CTP.
preview
Yeah,
I want to see. Can
yeah.
you, is this site somewhere where you can actually um, see it and interact with it?
That would be so cool, right? No, not that I know of. I don't think they have something on the web where you can kind of try it out. Uh, so what's your situation there? I mean, do you
They
have
sent
a
out
box where you could maybe do a test install and just tinker
well,
around with
yeah,
it?
I just can't get my IT guys to do it. They're just not getting on it. So I was hoping there was a place where we
Yeah.
could see it on the web. But
Do you have rights to install stuff on your machine?
uh, maybe.
Yeah, so that's an option.
Um,
Of course, a last ditch one um, would be doing on I don't know your home laptop or something. So Matt Allington, he wrote a pretty good blog post about his experience on that step by step. So let's bring it up.
yeah,
Blog.
that's sort of what I've been thinking of is that I'm going to have to do it myself because they're just not very cooperative.
Yeah. Hey,
What's his name? Al- Arlington? Arlington?
Matt Allington. Gosh, if I can find it. SSR introduction. Hold on, let me just find that for you. Give me a second, Tyler. See what's used. Oh, there we go. Power BI on-premise. He could have put the word SSRS on there. That would have been nice. So let's do this. Mhm.
How would you like to load it up so we could talk about it next time?
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice? Maybe I can loan Matt. He's I know him, of course. And say, hey, Matt, bring up the computer. Okay. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. How do I share this with you? Can you send me if you let me see where is can you send me just a comment? Type something in and send it to me, and that way I can share the URL.
Let's see here if I can get this window up.
So, all right, good question. I'll share that URL. Yeah, that's the best I think I have for you. Okay, perfect, great. Thank you.
So my
Yeah, do you have
second
anything else?
question is, and maybe today we might not be able to do it today, but I'm not very savvy about mapping at all, but I have some shape files that were provided to me from GIS
Mm-hmm.
folks that
Yeah.
represent some custom geography in the United States,
Uh-huh.
having to do with these government regions. Do you have any examples of how you put these shape files in here so that I can use them in Power BI to create, maps? Because these won't be big maps.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see how if I can point you in the right direction at least. So Esri. So the best I can point to is this one, the ArcGIS Maps for Power BI. And I haven't used it myself, but that may have options for loading up your custom maps. So try that out. If it doesn't, if it still falls short of what you need, then I think, well, yeah, the best I can say is suggest an idea on the ideas.powerbi site. So yeah, try this one, see how it works.
Okay.
So we'll make sure we'll share this URL. So we publish a recording of this on YouTube, so you can catch it later. Like, oh, what did Abby say I should do? And we put the URLs as well. Actually, let me quickly show you. All right, so thank you, Denise. Thanks for the questions.
Oh, thank you.
Oops, sorry, I cut you off. My bad. But let me see, modern Excel. All right, there we go. Oops, don't want that. So we publish it, and the cool part is that we have jump points. So for pause it. Now you can say, oh yeah, Karen asked this question and that interests me, so you can just click to jump to that. That's cool. And we have all the links that I mentioned I share. You can see that Matt Allington is my One of my favorites. That's another link I shared. So yeah, it's a cool trick. So we got that. We got that. Perfect. Okay. All right. So let's try it again. Go ahead, folks. Whoever's on the call, raise your hand if you want to ask a question. Okay. So we have. Wow, this was quick. Yeah, I'm loving it, guys. This is great. So next up we have Yuan. Am I saying your name right, first of all?
Yes, yes, it's right. Hello.
Okay. Hello and welcome. Tell us where are you calling from and what's on your mind?
I'm coming from Amsterdam now, actually.
Oh boy. Oh, I feel honored.
Yeah.
That's great. That's terrific.
Yeah, so actually it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon now for us.
All right. All right. Not too
Yeah.
bad. I don't get anybody calling from Australia ever. It's 9 o'clock.
No,
Doesn't work for Australia.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, I know.
Amsterdam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
okay.
5 p.m. is still reasonable. So yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, glad to have you here. How
Thank
can I
you.
help?
And I have a question. How can I change the default font size and the color for all my dashboard? Because we have our company's campaign report for the online advertising campaign, and I want the font size and the color can be consistent every time when I provide this report, because it's really time consuming to change them every
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Oh
So,
gosh.
do you
What
have any idea about that?
what a great question. Love it. And again, it's one of those things where it's like, did they talk about it and deliver it, or is it still waiting? And hey, maybe somebody in the audience can help me. I feel like they did deliver it. Yeah. So Larry is saying this. They have this feature. What is it called though? Power BI. Oh gosh, come on, folks, help me out. Teams. Yes, of course. So thank you, Jay and Kylie.
Yeah.
It takes a team. So custom teams, teams gallery, use report teams. Perfect. So it's in a preview option. Love it. Thank you, folks. Oh man, I love it. So I read a book which talked about that who is the smartest person, and they said the smartest person now in the room is the room itself. And they're like, whoa, that's cool. And certainly that's proven today. So yeah, together we're smarter. So let's see. So this is one of the preview features, it seems. And so let's hunt around in options. So I'm in the Power BI desktop. And if I click on preview features, oh, here it is, custom report teams. So yeah, so if you go to options, you have to turn that on. And, oops, let's try it again. File, options and settings, options, preview, custom report. And if you click Learn More, I'm sure it's going to open a URL with more information somewhere, sometime. Oh, there we go. And if I hit OK, feature requires a restart. Okay, great. So yeah, Teams it is. Frankly, beyond that, the best I can do is just point you to the URL. So just open Power BI Desktop, enable it, and you click Learn More. I think that lands you to this page, and that should have more details. Oh gosh, that is so cool. Maybe I'll give it a shot. So yeah, it seems you can write JSON and stuff, but it's pretty cool that they have a way to do it now.
Yeah, actually, I looked at this before, but they have some like template, the Power BI they provided on the community, but I don't know how can I do it with the JSON file to define it in my own way.
So have you tried to follow the step? I don't know when it was delivered. So this was March 7. That's pretty recent.
Okay.
So yeah, and again, this is still in preview, which is a great time, by the way, for you to try it out and give them feedback, right? So if it doesn't work, then yeah, so let them know that, hey, this is what's going on. You might be able to leave a comment, let's see, right here on this page, perhaps? I don't know commenting, but yeah, so I think templates is something different, but try this one, see how far you can get.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
All right.
I will look into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Yuan. All right, folks, that was great. Thanks for helping me out. The team, the room is the smartest person. Isn't that cool? So we got that one there. All right, let's try again. Yep. So sorry I kind of maybe keep you doing. So go ahead. All right, Guy it is. All right, so let me see if I can unmute you. Okay, is it Guy or is it like the French Guy?
No, it's Guy.
Guy. All right. Well, hello, Guy. How are you doing? Where
Good.
are you calling in from?
I'm in Western Pennsylvania.
All right, terrific. So tell me what's on your mind.
Well, I have a question. I was poking around the other day and using some things, and I found an area where I can actually take a URL and put that onto the desktop and be able to click on the link and, it'll take me to the web.
Yeah.
Now, I have a desktop that I'm working on that has a few 100,000 files that are stored in network shares.
Okay.
It's old because I'm in the chemical industry and we're working with C of A's, MSDSs, and these are ancient ones that we still need to reference.
Okay.
But what I would like to be able to do, since we're in an old Access database, I don't want to touch that. I pulled in the Excel files that lay underneath, dropped them into Power BI to be able to use them. But in order for them to access the file, they have to take the file name, which has a name like C123456, and they have to take it to the network share to find it. I would like to be able to, because what I did is I have the file name,
Yeah.
I have the location as another column. I took the two columns and I combined them into a file location. I would
Great.
like to
Makes
be
sense.
able to take that thing, put it in as a link that I can touch it straight out to, go open the network share instead of them having to type, C12356 in the share and then find whatever it is they need. It would just make it so much simpler. I don't know if that's on the drawing board or not. I can see where they do the URLs, but I don't really want to put this into SharePoint because I've got like 200 and some thousand of these files.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, let me see. What's the best way to do this? Visuals.
Because I can see a lot of uses for something like this. While you're looking there, I got to admit, I found your site just the other day. I did that quick course you offered. I learned more in those 6 modules than I've learned in the last 4 months.
Oh man,
Excellent.
oh gosh, I'm so glad you shared that with me because it's kind of odd, it's the oddest of things. I mean, I've written a book which has been kind of the top of the charts in the Power BI category for so long.
I have the book and I don't always understand it.
Okay, yeah. So of course, you get better as you teach. Somebody shared this quote with me, which I loved so much, which was, "To teach is to learn twice." So the book, I really wrote the book in October 2015. Now that's when I finished the book, right? So I haven't touched it since then. So I have grown, I hope, as a teacher since then. So the new video course that I'm doing, and that's the sample that I released,
It's good.
is latest. And I thank you for sharing that because you never know. I'm like, is anybody liking it? All right, so let me find. So this is actually part of my full course, what I teach, and this is my module 5, I think, where I go through all the visuals. And let's see, where's the card one. Got it. Hold on, let me find the right one. Card, there we go. So is this something that would help? So you have a list, a table, whatever, and then they click on a URL and it opens to whatever the URL points to?
Yeah, except I now want to go to the web. I can see, as you see on the right here, where you have web URL, image URL. Are they working on doing network share, which is a UNC, // server, / folder, / file.
So what happens if you...
You can't do it.
Oh, really? So if you go to kind of your table, and of course the way the clickable URL works is you have to go to modeling and you categorize it as a web URL. So it doesn't let you do that, huh?
No, if you do that and then you click on it, it doesn't know what the heck you're talking about because it's looking at my path is actually a UNC, not an HTTP or HTTPS. I understand the documentation says it's only the two, and I didn't know if it was on their drawing board, roadmap, or whatever you want to call it, or there's a workaround.
Yeah, that would be so cool. So if you know, or if somebody else on the forum can find the idea, if it's out there, I feel like it would be there.
Yeah, I sent it out to the forum and come back, and the answer I got back from the moderator was, "What kind of weird idea is this?"
No, I think it makes sense. Network URL. Seriously, I mean, if it's not there and if you put it out there, I'll certainly vote for it.
I put it into the idea.
Yeah,
what I called it, but it's in there.
What I can think of. Oh, you did. Okay, maybe you can share the URL. I'll put it up there. We can get at least folks who are on there to vote for it, right? So yeah, just put in the chat window if you can.
I'll see if I can find it.
So yeah, so Jay, the challenge is that he doesn't have an HTTP link, so Jay is typing in.
Right.
Oh, okay. So yeah, man, the room is the smartest bunch. So we do have a few ideas, and I'm going to throw them out to you. So, gosh, Larry is saying try putting it in quotes. Huh? I don't know. Maybe that'll work. Another idea, which
I put the suggestions. I mean, if it would, like I say, I don't even know. Maybe it's on the. I thought maybe in the roadmap they're working on. I mean, these things don't appear instantaneously. I mean, I love the URL link. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah. So another idea that I can suggest is that you do set up a simple web server. Find the easiest way you can, and have some kind of a wildcard redirect. Now, I'm not a web administrator, but I know that is not that hard to do. But yeah, you're gonna have to figure out how feasible is that in your situation. I think that's gonna be a cool workaround where you have a web server with just redirects, comes in HTTPS, whatever file name, file location, and says, oh, that's a network share, and try to open that there, something like that.
I just put the link in the chat window, and it has one vote so far, so that may be mine. But
okay. Let's try that. So I think somebody else put another link as well. Sometimes ideas are.
That's it right there.
So it seems there's another one. Let's see how many votes this has.
Combined the two.
Okay, this is a comment board. All right. Okay, so this is not an idea. There
you go. Clickable link for UNC path. It'd be fabulous.
Oh, okay. So wow, actually, this is pretty cool. So they're saying you can do UNC in this format. But you need 5 slashes at the beginning, but it'll only work really by default in Internet Explorer. Who shared that? Mark. Mark, we owe you thanks, my friend. So, gosh, it might work. So I'll share this back with you, and we'll put it up in our notes as well. So, Guy.
So file 5, and then the path.
Yeah, 5 slashes. Wow. Gosh, terrific. So great. Hopefully that helps you out. If not, we'll certainly vote for your idea. But as long as they work around, at least you can kind of make it work for now.
I'll take a workaround for now.
All right, terrific. That goes in my link notes. And Mark, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Love it.
Thanks,
Avi. All right, thank you. All right, folks, so I'm going to take my next question in a second. I just wanted to quickly say that, again, this has been a bit of an experiment. I'm not sure how it's going to go. So where my head is at is that I teach this Learn Power BI course as well. And a key part of that course are weekly Q&A sessions. And I have loved those. I've really enjoyed those. They kind of go like this. But, of course, it's a smaller group. Right now, you might feel like, oh, gosh, I've been waiting for a while. When do I get to ask my question? And in fact, it's not. That one is, you don't have to wait for me to unmute. It's kind of it's kind of like a conference call, right? So you can just say, hey, yeah, you know, hey, Avi, and we can just chat, which there's a lot of banter going on. And that has worked really well. And what I've heard consistently from students is that they not only, of course, it helps them when they get to ask their questions, but they also learn a lot from other people's questions. So I realized that as the stock Power BI forum kind of gets bigger, that it's possible not everybody would get a chance to ask their question. But I hope you kind of take it in that way, and that, you know, kind of like a radio show or something, right? I mean, but everybody hopefully can still learn from it. And if you get stuck, again, kind of hang out in the Facebook group, and I'll try to take questions, more questions from the Facebook group next time, perhaps. All right, so hopefully that helps. Okay, so let's go to the next question, and we have a guy asked you, Lucy. Hey, Lucy, you're on mute.
Hello.
Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you. Quick question. I'm relatively new to Power BI, and I'm struggling with a chart and line graph that I'm creating. I'm wanting to change the axis for the line in the chart that's showed on the right-hand side, and I don't know how to get to that. It's the line is showing a percentage level.
Line is showing at a percentage level, but
yeah, I've got my data in columns.
Okay.
And then I've added a line chart to show the percentage difference. And the axis for the line is pretty low, so the line sort of gets lost in the data, and I wanted it to show higher up in the graph.
Ah, okay. All right. Well, so I'm going to take a shot.
Change the axis.
And if it doesn't work, then we'll try something else. So let's do this first. I'm going to start. Card. So I would imagine, do you have a chart something like this?
Yes.
Okay. So if we go on the format settings, yeah. So it has three. Let's try it again. So this has three elements here. One is what's called fields. The next is report or format, I think. Next one is analytics. That's pretty cool. So if you try here, y-axis. What about this? The start and end? I mean, start and.
But that's for the columns, not for the line.
Ah, okay, okay. But what about line? There we go.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It has so much stuff in there, believe me. I don't know half of it. So, right, so that should be it, right?
So it is there. I've just got to, I just opened it and just saw the column bit. I didn't think to move the bar down.
You know, I wouldn't be so hard on myself. For one, gosh, they keep changing it every month. Every month, it's possible when you looked it wasn't there, and somebody complained and they added it. Who knows? Well, yeah, it looks like now it's there, and that's good. But that's kind of odd. So usually auto adjust. The only caveat is that, of course, the thing about Power BI reports is the whole thing cross filters. So if somebody else clicks on something else, then the report adjusts. So if you anchor the axis to be fixed, then if they interact with the report, it may not look right in all scenarios. But again, it's all about trade-offs, right? So maybe that'll work. All right, so hopefully that solved your issue.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much for your help.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for the question. All right. So that was Lucy. Thank you. Next up is Kylie. Hello, Kylie.
Hi,
How's it
hello.
going? I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Great, thank you.
Where are you calling in from?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, lovely. All right,
Yes.
what's on your mind?
Last night we have a Power BI user group in the area, and last night one of the questions were about the filter that you showed at the beginning of this session, and they wanted to know if you were able to hide that filter option to the end user.
Yeah.
They are a consultant that has one report with multiple clients, and they would like to share it out. However, the filter option is there for the client to select other customers.
Yeah, great question. Oh, I should write it down. Okay, so let me see if I
And the
got it
gentleman
right.
that was on the line while he writes this down, you're more than welcome to join our Power BI user group. It's within the pug on powerbi.com, so you can go there and check out the options that are available in your area. It's worldwide.
Yeah, yeah, I'm certainly part of the Seattle group, and I love it. Okay, so what you're asking about is there a way to hide the filter pane from end user? Move to share one report with multiple clients. Okay. So did I get that right? That is a scenario, right? So you want to hide the filter pane because you're sharing it with multiple clients.
Yes.
All right, now that one is tricky. So of course, by default, we have seen that if they go in the report, the filter pane is right there. But the scenario that you're talking about, the first thing that comes to mind is role level security.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, you completed my sentence.
That was one of the that was part of the content of our user group last night. So we did go over that, but we just wanted to see if there was a way to just hide that filter or disable it.
Yeah. So now that I know off, but tell me, what's the drawback of using role level security?
She's just not set up for that right now. She's starting to do that. So we did have about a 20-minute session on row level security, and she's going to move forward in that direction.
Okay.
But just that was one of the questions that we couldn't find an answer to.
Yeah. So I'll share kind of my experience. So one thing I've seen is that it can impact the performance. And that depends on your model, right? I mean, if your model is small, simple, it doesn't really matter. Nobody cares, right? It's going to work. But if you have a complex model, then one big thing that happens, you might have noticed that the PowerBI.com, I'm talking about the cloud service, right? So cloud is where people are consuming their dashboards and reports. It's very aggressive at caching, sometimes too much. I mean, sometimes you can be like, what? Not just showing the whole data. And then you have to refresh dashboard styles. Usually it's okay. But the problem is made slightly worse with role level security because caching can't work, right? I mean, because if Avi comes in versus Kylie comes in, both people can't be shown the same cache data. So you take a slight performance hit, but that's frankly, I'm not concerned about that. My bigger concern usually when I'm working with something is that role level security is a pro feature, and of course the way Power BI works is if you use any pro feature in a report, and if you have 100 users or 30 users, whatever, each one of them needs a pro license. And I kind of get hung up on that. So I don't know if that is a problem or no. Like, no problem. We'll get pro licenses for everybody. Do you know what the scenario is for what you were describing? Is pro license going to be a problem or not really?
I don't know that.
Okay, cool. All right, so for kind of everybody else, my take on this is, in general for the pro, I try to keep my clients running on free for as long as I can. And this has nothing to do with me trying to cheat Microsoft out of its money. What I think the analogy I use is that I want to slowly roll in the friendly Trojan horse. It's a friendly Trojan horse, but sometimes it's not welcome, right? Because people are afraid of Trojan horses. So I slowly roll it in and then let people experience it. And if the pro discussion comes right at the beginning, as you're trying to do like a proof of concept, it often kills the project. I mean, they don't even get to see the awesomeness of Power BI. So I'm like, no, let's keep running on free as long as we can, and then worry about pro once you have seen the benefits. Okay, so yeah, sorry, no way to hide the filter as far as I know. Rollover security is the way to go. Oh, there's another. So if for you or somebody else, if rollover security is like a no-no, like no, we can't do that because of the pro licenses or maybe some other reason, there is kind of a hacky way to implement rollover security. And the way that works is you build everything in your measures. So so the way you do is you use the username function to see who's coming in, and then whatever your measure is, imagine your sales measure, it uses that as a filter. So if you're really desperate, you can use that.
Gotcha.
But really, rollover security is the way to go. All right, cool. Great question. Thanks so much. All right, so hey, this is pretty cool. I wasn't sure how the hour is going to go. We had a few more people than we've had in the past. A shout out to Pamela. I think she's attended every one of my Talk Power BI sessions so far. So phenomenal. Glad to have you. Oh, there we go. Yay. All right. So hey, Pamela, how's it going? You're unmute. Let's see. Can you hear you? Microphone working? Oh, gosh. We can't seem to hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, great. Okay. Today I had a question about the Pro version and the My Workspace and setting up the groups, work groups. What is the benefit to that, and how does that work, and how is that different from just sharing a dashboard? And
yeah, great question. Oh my gosh, that's a great one. So let's talk about that. So
okay.
Let's see. What are they called? What's the official name for them? Groups? What are they called? I don't know what they're called. Groups and workspaces. But Ben knows what I'm talking about. So if you go in here, and you might see something like this. Group workspaces. You might see something like this, and if you're on the free version, I think you wouldn't have anything. And if you try to click plus, it's going to ask you if you want to upgrade to Pro. So it's one of the Pro features. But really, what is it about? How does it benefit? So actually, there are a few things you can do with groups and the way you can use them. So the first way to think about it is where you collaborate and work together on creating data sets, reports, and dashboards. So my workspace is really owned by just one person. It's mine, right? But that's not usually how we work in teams. So yeah, I was part of some operations team handling the business analysis function. So what we would do is we would set up a work area, and then what happens is that you can collaborate on it. Let's see, members. No, I didn't want that. Let's try edit group. Yeah, so you can see the default setting, I think, is that all members in that group can edit Power BI content. So now you're not by yourself, and now you're not stuck like, oh, I can never go on vacation because if something happens, who can edit it, right? So now it's a shared environment, you and maybe a small group. It's never going to, well, yeah, so in this scenario, it's never going to be like 500 people. It's going to be five of you who work together, and you can distribute your duties. Maybe one person is the data set expert. Now, the cool thing about these tools is that you can do end-to-end. You open Power BI Desktop, you can connect to data, clean, shape, transform, you can define measures, you can build visuals. But maybe one person has specialized in kind of the data model, and the other person, once the person publishes a data set, they come in here and they click, and create reports. So you can do stuff like that. That's really cool, right? So you can kind of divide and conquer.
Okay.
But there is more. Oh gosh, this one is so cool. So the more part, let's see. So you can use this as a launching pad. Another way to use it is that you actually you control it, or maybe there are some members who are admin. So you can notice here that one user is an admin, but you can have a few users who are admin who can do anything they want. But then you do admit 500 users into it, right? But you set that members can only view. So there are 5 admins who control the data set, the reports, and everything, the refresh, but 500 members can view. Now, why would you do that? Well, a few reasons. For one, we kind of like doing it because I know they're trying to change the interface here. I think there's one in preview right now, or maybe they already changed it. I can't tell. But in a real company, I know I saw this at some of my clients. When you come into my workspace and you can have like 1,000 things shared with you, and it's crazy to find through that. So if you shared through your workspace, that gave a very contained environment. So you said, hey, this is the group. I'm going to add 500 users to it. And they only have view permissions. They can't change anything. Only admins can. But when they land here, you completely control kind of the list of things they see. Oh, gosh, I thought of one more. Oh, man, this is big. This is big. So the last one is, so Pam, you're probably aware of the Analyze in Excel feature.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll just show this for the benefit of others. So Analyze in Excel is like kick-ass, phenomenal. What this does is it gives you an Excel report which is connected to the model you published in the cloud. And that way you can have a single source of truth. That way you can have Power BI reports connected to your model, and you can have Excel reports connected to that. So this is so cool. And when you hear Microsoft talk about it in the demo when they announced the general availability, they said it's free. And it is free, but not quite. So to have access to Analyze in Excel, you need to have access to the data set. And if you publish something in your workspace, guess who has access to the data set? Only you, right?
Yes.
So that means nobody else can use Analyze in Excel. And I don't want that. I want to publish a model and create some Power BI reports, but if somebody keeps nagging me saying, oh, give me this report, give me that report, and give it to me in Excel, I'm like, dude, just go ahead, go crazy. Just click Analyze in Excel and it's all yours, right? So an easy way to do that is by a group. So you publish it within a group and add them to the group, and in the group, any member or well, depending on how you set it up, right? So you can either have members can edit, then any member can do Analyze in Excel, or if you say members can only view, then you have to make them an admin. But either way, you can give a set of people access to the data set. Now, that of course means that in essence, Analyze in Excel is a pro feature, really. I mean, that's how I see it, because that's how you would want to use it. But yeah, that's another cool use of groups, which is far better than the alternative. The other way to share a data set is content packs, which I'll be blunt, I think content packs suck big time. They're trying to rename them. Hopefully that comes with a makeover. And they're trying to name them apps or something like that. We'll see what the new one is. But I'm not a huge fan of content pack. I'm not going to go into the details there. But okay, so that's a skinny. Gosh, so love that question. Yeah, I hadn't even realized there were so many things that I loved about workspaces. So thank you, Pam, for the question.
Okay, thank you.
Good one. Love it. All right, great. So I got that. All right, next up we have Scott. Hey, Scott. I think you're a repeat visitor as well, right?
I am. How are you doing, Avi?
I'm doing great. How's it going? What's on your mind?
Going well. It's a little windy here in Atlanta, so I'm there's a little background noise.
Okay.
I had a question, getting back to Denise's point around mapping and put a map out on the data gallery in Power BI community, if you don't mind pulling it up.
All right, let's do it. So the custom visuals, is that what you want?
It's not the custom visuals. I actually published the report to the data galleries in Power BI.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I think you shared that with me. Data storage gallery, this one?
Yep.
Okay, and how do I find yours?
Go to recently posted.
All right. Ah, there we go. This one? Guinness one? Or you have multiple? Oh, NPI, National Provider Identifier.
Yep, the national provider, yep.
Okay, which page should I look at? There are 4.
Any one's fine. They're just examples. So the national provider identifier pulled from open source CMS, and it is the list of all providers in the United States.
Yeah.
This is an example of a certain subspecialty of providers within the state of North Carolina. Part of the challenge was I did this through the Bing service. Is trying to actually have it show up where it should show up on the map. So I was able to work through that with city, state, country, learned about identifying all the categories for that. The country has to have a 3-letter abbreviation versus a 2-letter, but it still limits it to only a city level. And really, if you wanted to drill down into how close in proximity are some of these practices to each other for marketing purposes, to do some competitive analysis, maybe opportunities for new offices in areas that are underserved, then it really doesn't allow for that. So do you have some experience or recommendations on how to get down to that street level mapping? And this is 4 or 5 million rows of data, so trying to clean it up probably isn't practical unless you did it to a specific subset of data. And then secondly, is there anything that's easy to calculate distance or show radius around certain mapping locations and proximity?
Yeah, well, let me answer the second one first. No, I don't think that's possible, not to show it visually, right? So there's radius around it. I don't think that's an option right now. I don't know, maybe there's a custom visual or something, but I haven't seen it. About the distance between 2 points, I don't think that's an option either in the visual layer, kind of visual mapping, but I have thought about that problem for a while, because the scenario I had was that I had longitude latitude for one point A and longitude latitude for point B, and I think you can mathematically calculate the distance, at least as the crow flies, if you have the lat long. And I was like, damn, I could write a measure for that. So maybe there's some cool things you can do in a measure. So of course you would be able to analyze and slice and dice that data, but not quite show it on a map. But on the first part, I believe the street level mapping is possible. Let's try this guy. All right, so here, and I'm just going to zoom into California, and let's see what's the. So I'm mapping a full address here, and let's zoom in. Yeah, so gosh, this gets pretty precise. I mean, this one is 8004 Broadmoor Avenue, and yeah, it puts it on a dot.
So do you know what happens when the data is not very clean, and will it look for a suggested address, or is that really more on data validation on the front end?
So good point. So yeah, this really, what it does is, you probably know, I mean, it just throws this, whatever you pass in, it throws it to Bing Maps, and whatever Bing Maps returns, so that Bing Maps says, oh, I think it's here, it shows it there. Now, of course, you know, imagine you're on the mapping tool like maps.bing.com or whatever, and if you type in an address and it's ambiguous, I think, I know Google does that, probably Bing does that too, I'm sure. It says, oh, did you mean this one? Did you mean that one? Now, of course, this interface doesn't have that facility, so it just gives you the best result, and sometimes that's not accurate, and I think those ones you just have to kind of weed and find and let your users discover, unfortunately. I mean, that's the last way I want people to find bugs in my thing. But yeah, so mapping is tricky. Now you can encode everything into longitude and latitude, and you would think that that would be great, but you have the same problems. If you go with a third-party service where you feed them addresses and they give you back longitude and latitude, the problem remains the same, that even they can make a mistake, and still you're going to find it the hard way. The advantage, the only advantage there is that if you do find a mistake, it's easy to fix it. That you can kind of hard code longitude and latitude. So, oh, no, this result was wrong. So those are a few options. I mean, you can throw in an address and it'll put it on direct map, but if it's not accurate, then you're kind of stuck unless you go the longitude latitude path there.
Okay. And a final point that I was trying to produce in the map was to be able to filter by the organization level. And in the data set, it is for both organizations and individuals, but it does not have a crosswalk for which organizations individuals work for. So what it does have as a common element is the business mailing address will be the same or approximately the same as the business mailing address for the organization. I tried to do grouping, but the data was so large, the desktop crashed when I tried to group it by the business mailing address. Is there another way to, and the other caveat to that's a problem is some organizations have the same business mailing address for different companies. They're on the same street and location. That part I could work through and just make an assumption that it's the most, the oldest one is the one I'll use, or the most recent, whatever it is. But that aside, is there any easy solution to be able to tie those two together and say any individual that has a shared business mailing address with an organization will assume as part of that, and we can then filter it to that level?
Yeah, so you have maybe an organization table with an address, and you have individuals with an address, and you're just trying to match them together?
Yeah, they're the same table.
Got it.
I could break it out into different tables.
Yeah, I think you would have to. So, okay, so I get it. So you have organization name in there. That's one column. And is there an organization address? Is that one column? Yeah, I'm trying to.
It's the business mailing address.
Okay.
And so the individual will have their practice address, but they will also have a business mailing address. So if an individual works.
Got it. So let's say the organization is headquartered at 1 Redmond Way. No idea if we have a real organization like that. So one Microsoft Way. So that's the business mailing address, and then the practice address could be anything, so whatever, something Dakota, and then you can have another one which has the same business mailing address, but that one is, the practice address is Idaho, but you want to say, hey, if they have the same business mailing address, they're part of the same organization. Is that what you're trying to do?
Correct.
Yeah, what about the name of the organization? Do you have that or not really? You just have the business mailing address and you're trying to group it based on that. How would you know that?
I have the name of the organization, but it's only associated at the organization level in the data set, not at the individual level.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Yeah, I think this should be pretty doable. I'm thinking you certainly need to separate these two tables. I think that'll make the data set a lot more leaner as well. So big flat tables are the worst thing you can throw at Power BI. So organization, if you separate it out, and that's going to have all the columns which apply to the organization level. And then you'll say individual, and then maybe you can do a merge from kind of individual to organization, and you can match that. Gosh, let me see. So, address. You just need a link, right? Yeah. So I think if you have organization, and that one can have a business address, and individuals can be linked to the organization. You know which organizations they belong to, right?
No. No, you don't. The only thing that's common in it is that the individual also has the column for business address. And so what I'm assuming is if they share the same business address, then they're part of the same organization.
Yeah. So in the query editor, you're going to merge that with organization. based on you know, kind of the business address. And yeah, just pull down. Do you have like primary keys or some key or ID for organization, or no? Just a name.
I can create a key, a unique identifier.
Yeah. So I really feel like you need two separate tables: organization that represents the organization, individual represents the individual. And once you have that, the connection, of course, is the business address. So you're going to start off with the individual table and say, hey, I want to merge it. I want to match it up with the organization table where my individual business address matches the organization business address. And if it does, boom, give me that organization ID. That's the one that this individual belongs to. And then you can use that ID to create a relationship between these two tables, allowing you to slice and dice your data using the business address or really any other organization attribute you have. And I think you'll just have to try it. I think one challenge you have is the data is either not clean or sometimes not reliable. So you'll just have to take the first pass at it and see how many matches you get and how many don't match, and then try to work through those.
Okay, I'll take it down to a narrow subset so that the size is also not an issue. Maybe just one city and one specialty.
Yep.
And then when it does get back to the size of the data, does all of that have to be processed on desktop, or is there an option to process large data sets with these types of formulas and have them update through the service?
You can set it up on the service. The key, of course, is whether all of your data sources kind of live in the cloud, or you have some on-premise data sources, like an on-premise, I don't know, file access database, SQL server, something like that. And why that matters is that if you have on-prem sources, you need a pro license. But either way, you can certainly set up a refresh on the service. So on the service, you can just just go to your data set and click on the ellipses and say schedule refresh or refresh now. And if you have on-prem sources, it might ask you to set up a gateway so that it can connect to that. So yeah, it's definitely possible to set it up to refresh online through the service. And maybe you can set it up to refresh kind of nightly. So even if it takes a long time, you're all set. When you come in the morning, you have like latest data.
Great. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Good questions. So sorry, folks, I didn't quite repeat the question. I should have earlier. So hey, it's 10:11. Let's do a last call for questions. And so friends, you know, I've of course been teaching this stuff for more than 2 years. I left Microsoft in October 2014 and have been kind of on the road evangelizing these tools. But even before that, I was running internal training at Microsoft. But this year, I've done something new. I try to take a pulse of exactly what people need, what gets in their way in learning Power BI, what are the hurdles, and I've tried to solve all of those in my new training program. So the enrollments are open for that. I've already run one class in this program, and gosh, the results have been amazing. I've been thrilled by the participation I got from my beta group. So this one is available now, and as part of this launch, I'm doing something crazy. I'm going to go on a binge, and I'm doing one session every day for the next full week. Right, so I think I'm going to do like a Talk Power BI, a session like this on Monday. Tuesday, I'm running a webinar. Wednesday, I'm going to do another Talk Power BI session. And Thursday is another webinar. And Friday, of course, we have a regularly hosted Talk Power BI session. So look out for that. You'll probably get an email from me with all the details on that. So that's the plan for next week. So a lot of time. If you needed to, get on the phone with me and ask me questions, there are going to be lots of opportunities next week. So let's do a last call on questions here before we wind up. Last call. Anything on your mind around Power BI, or maybe not, maybe something related to it. And a shout out to Oystein as well. He's a regular, repeat visitor as well. I've seen you before. Glad you can join us today. So yeah, folks, last call before we hang up. if you have any questions, anything you wanted to ask around Power BI. Okay, Mark had some comments. So Mark had a comment earlier. He was saying, hey, I've used Texas A&M GeoServices in the past. So we were talking about latitude, longitude encoding. And Mark, let's see. Oh, okay. You saw something on my dashboard. I think I had a KPI visual somewhere I shared. Okay, all right. So yeah, good tip. Thank you, Mark. All right, folks. I'm not seeing any raised hands. Yeah, again, if you have a question, just raise your hand. I'll stay on for a minute more, just in case one of you has something. Okay, going once, going twice, sold. All right, well, thank you for participating in Talk Power BI. And again, next week is going to be chock full. We're going to have like a session every day, webinar Talk Power BI, so you can have lots of opportunities. If you're stuck somewhere, if you have any question, or if you want to ask me about my Learn Power BI program and any detail on that. Thank you, folks. I'll see you next time.